All right. We're going?
Okay.
Yes, I believe we're going. All right.
Yeah, we're going. Yep. Here, just let me whip this out right here. Oh.
Oh, I'm Eric Paul Johnson,
And I'm Eric Winstonson.
and we're here to do the weekly comments about the latest episode, which was Secret Messages, the song, not the album, not yet.
Sure.
Uh, Rich Wisniewski said, "Love the two clips from the TV shows this week, especially hearing Kinch, Ivan Dixon, from Hogan's Heroes." Yeah, no, that was fun, and you wouldn't believe how hard it was. I seem to keep missing the episodes where they would say Papa Bear calling Mama Bear. Seemed like it was in every episode. Guess what? It wasn't. So that's what happens when you try and skip around and find one single drop of a TV series that had about 900 episodes.
A bunch of POWs are captured by the Germans. Hilarity ensues.
You know, I love Hogan's Heroes, but you got to treat it like every other sitcom from the 60s. Don't think too much about it.
True.
Honestly, if we're going to ask why the skipper is so fat throughout the series, he's got to be eating some of the castaways to stay that big. Um, you know, NASA is not issuing genies to every astronaut. You just don't look
Why
too deep.
not?
Hey,
That's the one thing that got me out of astronaut training was when I found out that I was not going to have a scantily clad woman calling me master.
hey, I'm right there with you. That and the
Yeah,
math that always stopped me from being an astronaut.
the fact I can't see 10 feet away from me without glasses, that probably didn't help either. But
Better vision than me. Microphone's starting to get blurry. So
yike.
yeah, yeah.
Hey, you're looking better.
You know how many times women belted me in the face for that joke? Surprisingly, it didn't get me laid much.
Oh, yeah, I'm not surprised. That explains some of it.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Doug Payton says, very nice podcast intro to the song where you stop just as the song whispered, secret messages. I understand what Jeff may have been intending about poking fun at backward masking worries, but I always considered it to mean the TV and radio waves, and now Wi-Fi. Yes, I know it's Wi-Fi. Passing around and through us all the time. Secret messages unless you have the right receiver. Do we even want to start triggering people on the 5G thing?
That's why people's brains are melting. They're sending out the waves, and it mixes with the chemtrails. And then when you get the autism vaccines running through you, this is why I don't get vaccinated. I don't. I don't breathe, so the chemtrails don't get in. And I wear a special hat. It looks like a colander, and this makes the 5Gs bounce so that I don't get it.
Well, now you're appropriating somebody's religion with the colander.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. I hadn't thought of radio and TV and Wi-Fi waves. I just kind of a simpleton. Oh, Jeff means the backwards messages on records. Okay. Although I do like that notion that TV, the broadcasting waves are transmitting secret messages into our heads. I need to get my tinfoil hat replaced to keep my sanity. Who's next? Oh, Ira Libov. I enjoyed the podcast, and I do like the song. I never realized that Bev Bevan was replaced by a drum machine. I find it ironic that in Time, Jeff was writing about how the future was not human and was run by machines. Yet, on his next album, he dehumanized the band. I would rather have had him keep the band and not take it completely over. I think that is what is lacking with his remakes in most recent albums. He is missing the human touch of a band. Yeah, I didn't even know. I mean, I knew that there was a drum machine used on the album. When I got the album, I was looking over the inner sleeve with all the liner notes. Oh, there's a drum machine on it. But I didn't know up until looking in the song facts for Secret Messages that Bevan was replaced by a machine. So, yeah. And yeah, what here's what Jeff needs to do. And if he's listening, I'm giving you some advice. Use the touring band. The drummer you have is a kick-ass drummer. I love you, Jeff, but the touring drummer you got is way much better than you. Um, but yeah, yeah, I think
Use the touring band, Jeff.
yes. So for that next album that you're working on that I keep hearing about, I hope you're using a full band. I understand why you're not. Kind of a control freak in the recording studio. I get that, believe me. But you got to let go of some of that control. You got some great people in your band, and they can really they can really help. Try not to give spoilers away of what I think of the latest albums, but you
Yeah.
need a band. You got to get yourself a band.
Yep. And then because believe it or not, there are other times than 3/4 and 4/4.
See, Eric's a music genius. I don't know this 3/4 4/4 is 6/12. I don't know fractions, so it's over my head.
Yeah, 3/4 and 4/4 are your basic rhythms.
Mm-hmm.
Are your basic times in most music.
Right.
You start getting into higher fractional beats, or I should say sections and everything. It's kind of hard to explain, but yeah, when you start getting into higher, you get into a lot more interesting rhythms and experimental stuff and everything.
Yeah.
Which you can hear about playing on a lot of the older stuff that you don't hear on the newer stuff.
Yeah.
Because when Bev was allowed to go, he
went.
he went.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. All that flailing he does on Fire on High, that's all fantastic. Yeah.
right. And drum machines can do a lot of stuff a human can't do. But then, of course, you then realize that's not a human.
Yes. And it just doesn't sound the same. Yeah.
Javier Navas Medina says, "Hi, Eric. Enjoying so much your podcasts and learning loads about E.L.O. songs. I think Secret Messages is underrated as an album and has aged well because it isn't tacky or oversynthesized. I had the feeling you thought so, but didn't want to raise much of an argument about it. Good from you. Also, I reckon it was right to keep it as a single album, as I don't like any of the B-sides. By the way, is there any chance of getting hold to those original backing tracks of the songs, or those cool covers like the 8-bit Last Train to London? Thanks so much. Waiting for Loser Gone Wild, somewhere between blues and futuristic space pop." Well, you're the one who found all the 8-bit stuff.
I did. And I posted the link to his reply. There's a site that has a bunch of E.L.O. songs that's all 8-bit stuff. And I should have had that up. Either way, do a Google search. Electric Light Orchestra 8-bit. It'll pop right up. And some of it, there's at least one song in our bonus tracks episodes is done by Stephen St. John. And he does some pretty good stuff. The one he did for Sent a Dream Lesson from the End of the World, that was pretty damn good. And I think that when we finish with this podcast series, I'll probably post an episode that's just his remakes, his MIDI versions of the E.L.O. songs that were on our bonus tracks episodes, because I'm impressed. Oversynthesized, I do think it's oversynthesized, but I think it's good oversynthesized. They do some pretty cool stuff with the synthesizers, unlike what happens next album. There was something else here. I think maybe that was it.
Yeah.
I had to say about that one. Yeah, sure. I think so. All right, moving on. Mark Jealous. I remember discussing this track with my fellow E.L.O. loving buddy back in the day. He saw it as having commercial potential, but I felt it would be minor hit at best. Looks like I got that one right. Yes, me and you, we get the we get the star on our forehead. We got that one right. We know better than the people who were releasing the singles back in 1983.
Definitely.
Mhm.
And which I saw confirmation because we're doing this right after doing the review of Rock and Roll is King.
Mhm.
Um, Bev said basically it was the record company that made the decision on the singles, not the band.
Yeah, I kind of figured that's usually
So,
how it is.
so they basically just left it up to them.
Yeah, I think that's usually how it is. At least with E.L.O., I don't think the band ever had much say in it. It's sort of like they just. I think I've heard in an interview that Jeff records the album. All right, it's done. I'm moving on to the next album. Meanwhile, here's the album. You guys do what you're going to do with it. And so,
Right, and which tells me that Jet Records needed a better person to choose what was released as singles a lot of times,
at
at
least,
least towards the end of it.
yeah, at least with Secret Messages, definitely, and yeah, and from Time too. Yeah, who I don't know whoever if they got a new guy in who just I don't know. Uh, boom, there you go. Another Heartbreaks. There's a good single. That's going to be number one.
Wah, wah.
Is it you? I think it's you now.
Mike Hudson says, I'm with EPJ. I like Secret Messages quite a bit. It's one of my favorite tracks from from the album. I will say this album does indeed pale as a whole when put up against Time, though. There's a lot of just so-so tracks on the album.
Um, I don't want to give any spoilers away when we get to the bonus tracks episode in what? 13 weeks?
Yeah.
But if you put anything up against Time, it's going to sound well, almost anything up against Time. It's going to sound weak next to it. So,
Especially if he came out right afterwards.
oh yeah, yeah. Corey Gomel, who by the way, can you see it? There it is. Oh, it keeps all. That's weird. Google Zoom. It's weird. Okay, let's try this. Uh, there we go. Now you see what's really behind me, which is really nothing very interesting. Um, Corey sent me this. It's a metal card, and it looks like it's all laser cut, and it's really pretty cool. So cool that I put it in a frame. It's
Oh,
Jeff Lynne Electric Light Orchestra Fan Hall of Fame member. I'm special. I'm a somebody now.
yeah, you are. And yeah, just don't look at his picture on the website.
Oh, it's me with my bass guitar.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's just you with your bass guitar.
Well, I'm wearing glasses too.
Yeah,
Yeah, and end of list as for what I'm wearing. But anyway,
yeah. Um,
but
I've
anyway,
heard about them going after dad bods, but not gnome bods.
Corey said, "Is it just me, or are the vocals mixed a little too low in this song? It seems way down. They're buried in one of the many layers." And Jim Crow replied to him.
Mel, that's actually one of the things I enjoy about this track. The drive and whizzits in the music are what gets stuck in my head and really make the track work for me. Bringing the vocals forward, where I'll agree they normally should be, detracts from the secret stuff going on all around it. All around it. How cool would this track be in a 5.1 mix, I wonder?
I would
Or
care.
do a 5.1 mix. Let's do that with El Dorado or Time.
No, I would. Yeah, I kind of agree with him that it's okay for the vocals to be mixed back down a little bit. Kind of adds some secret messagey feel to it that you got to listen for the vocals. But yeah, I for many years, I have been wanting a 5.1 El Dorado, uh, definitely Time. That would be awesome in surround sound. Um, and There's a bunch of other ELO songs. I don't know if I'd go for entire albums that would sound great in surround sound. I would love to hear Tightrope in 5.1. Um, Secret Messages would be fun in surround. So yeah, I just can it be done though? I mean, I've had some people say that you can't do that because it was mixed for stereo, so they can't really pick it apart. And I did get a 5.1 remixed version of Dark Side of the Moon, which I thought
I
would
was
have been
about to
awesome.
say,
Which I thought would have been awesome. And I played it directly on my surround sound. I didn't, import it to my computer and then play it through the stereo cables into the surround sound. Put the disc in the surround sound DVD player and played it, and was waiting for clocks and things and heartbeats to be coming all around me. And it was just, that really didn't sound all that different from the stereo disc that I already have. Especially in that second track, On the Run. That would have been awesome in surround sound, or as I titled it when describing it to my last girlfriend, uh, the Whoopity Whoopity song. Yeah.
and you got no whoopity whoopity.
I got the same old Whoopity Whoopity that I get in the stereo version. I was hoping for like
Okay.
I was hoping for like in Back to the Future, when Marty goes into 1985 or 1955, you can hear 1985 close up behind you. And I was hoping for some of that whoopity whoopity to fly behind me, and it didn't really do any
Yeah.
whoopity
No,
flying.
I've never heard the 5.1 version of Dark Side of the Moon, but I didn't hear great things about it.
Yeah,
In fact, I heard that they fiddled with the mix quite a bit on the songs too. But um, I've heard that if you can get an old quad set up and find a quad version of it and shovel out the money for the quad version of Dark Side of the Moon,
yeah,
that's pretty much worth hearing. But a lot of people, I think, when they came out with the 5.1, were wondering why they didn't just transport the quad version into 5.1 so everybody could have a copy. They didn't have to work a year to buy. And
well, then there may be hope for El Dorado, because I think I remember that there was a quadraphonic version recorded, or quadraphonic mix of El Dorado. It just wasn't released, and I'm sure that was the last time there was a quadraphonic mix of an ELO album. So maybe we can get a surround sound version of El Dorado. But Time, that was mixed for stereo, so I don't really know how, unless there's the original. Well, I guess the original tapes are probably all stereo too. I don't know.
yeah, I know there's a way of doing it, but I wouldn't trust anybody other than Jeff Lynne doing it, to tell you the truth. So my problem with a lot of that stuff is they don't let the original producers or musicians in on it. Somebody just goes ahead and says, okay, we're going to do this, and they had nothing to do with the original mixing, and then it sounds like crap.
Yeah, yeah. This was something that I forgot to bring up on the Time bonus tracks episode. In 1988, when I got a CD player, I was all excited to hear Time in digital stereo. And whatever jughead mastered that thing, he screwed it all up. There are some songs that fade in quicker than they should have. Some parts of the album are quieter than others, like an epilogue, where it's like the guy's not paying attention. It's just, oh, that should be a little bit louder, and just whoop, pushes that all the way up. Just pushes that up without any kind of like, at least slowly, so you don't really notice. It just ring. And there's a gap. There's a gap between 21st Century Man and Hold On Tight. There is not supposed to be a gap there. That completely just jerks me out of 2095 and back into whatever time period I am actually in at the present, and reminds me, oh, this is an album. And it's a badly remastered one. When I heard that the remaster version was coming out in 2001, I was hoping they would have fixed all that. And they did. 2001 remastered version, that's the one to listen to. Do not listen to the one that came out in 1987 or 88, where E.L.O. was kind of like, oh yeah, them. Here, you've been assigned to transfer the E.L.O. albums to CD. Just get it done and go home. Yeah. All right. I think we've used up a lot of time here.
Yeah, we have.
Okay.
We're off on our tangents as usual.
As usual, this is the kind of stuff you miss if you're not subscribing to the expanded episodes over there at Patreon. They're going to get more expanded with more widgets and goodies that are going to be added. But you can only get it at an expanded episode, $2 per episode. It's cheap. It's $8 a month. You can afford that.
And as always, when we get off on a tangent, that means it's a sign.
I really need to wrap things up. Yeah. Tulla and Madeline, they want to go do things. So yeah.
Okay. And then, yeah, and I've got to I've got to take care of any of you if you drive stupidly. So
Well, that's
please,
right.
I don't ever want to speak with any of you on the phone when I'm doing my job. So behave yourselves. Be safe. Drive like you're supposed to.
That's right. He works for insurance people.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Next week. What is it? Loser Gone Wild. Okay.
Yep. Eric Paul Gone Wild. Yes.
Yeah. Wow. We need to end this right here and have a little